so appreciative of the opportunity to do some preliminary interviewing for the social studies position at Fannet Metal. And I would like to answer the questions that were laid out and given to me. Um, so, first of all, you asked briefly describe your background and experience, reasons for my interest in the position, reasons for leaving your current position, and then my career goals. So I did obtain my bachelor's degree in secondary education, integrated social studies from Youngstown State University in Ohio in 2004. My master's in reading in 2009 from Edinburgh University in Pennsylvania, as well as completing my principal certification with Edinburgh. Um, so I hold certifications in social studies 7th through 12th grade, reading specialist K through 12, and also K through 12 principal. I've also worked for the past 11 and a half years at CCA, where I mostly taught world history to 9th through 12th graders. I've also taught world geography, research methods, American history, and AP world history. I would like to get back into the bricks and mortar setting as Commonwealth Charter Academy CCA is a virtual school, and I have been searching for a position closer to my home as CCA is a 65-mile commute one way in Harrisburg. So my hopes are that I will become a principal eventually and help other teachers achieve their goals while helping students that we serve reach for their goals. The second question you asked was, how would your former coworkers describe you? My coworkers would describe me, in my opinion, as creative, outgoing, fun, and knowledgeable. They do come to me for advice quite frequently and value my input. I am someone that rolls up her sleeves to get the job done, but realize that no one should go it alone. I led my PLC for 8 years and instilled the teamwork mindset in them so that they would realize no one is on their own. So basically, we're all in this together. So having supportive coworkers is really crucial in my opinion to being a successful educator. Next question you asked was, what period of history intrigues you the most and why? And that's a really difficult question for me because I love history as a whole. So if I had to choose, I would say probably the Middle Ages. And the reason for this is because of all the myth and the lore that sprung from this era. The social and political dynamic of this period is also really intriguing. So, for example, it's interesting to compare the early to late medieval age, where it goes from fiefdoms, serfdom to developed towns, and then serfdom is pretty much eradicated. And then I'm also fascinated with the causes and effects of the Black Death and its impact on society and how it really did usher in the Renaissance. And then number 4, you said, how would you incorporate geography into a social studies course? So geography is crucial to teaching all aspects of social studies. Students need to have a visual to not only see the landscape of the areas being discussed, but also to understand how wars changed territory/boundary lines. So perhaps showing them a map of the territories prior to the 100 Years' War and then what it looked like after the 100 Years' War. And then I would also use Google Earth, if possible, to show students the different landscapes and points of interest in real time, and so they're more engaged. So visiting the Florence, Italy, and looking over the architecture of the Renaissance era, or going to Rome and looking at the ancient Roman aqueducts, things like that, just to make it come more to life. It would really make them more engaged. I would also stress that geography is much more than memorizing where geographical features lie on a map, but also the culture of the people in those regions and how geography shaped their development. Excuse me. And then number 5, what experience do you have with developing interdisciplinary units? So I do have quite a bit of experience with interdisciplinary teaching. So in the past, I've worked with English teachers to teach about maybe like the Civil War while they're reading The Red Badge of Courage, or working maybe with a music teacher when they're teaching the students about Mozart. I could also give the historical background of Mozart at the same time, so that would be exciting. I do like to use music a lot in my lessons. Um, and then tying past events to explain the real world is also something I do try to do on a daily basis. So, for example, I did previously teach a unit on the Renaissance, and my specific lesson zeroed in on Machiavelli and his work, The Prince. So the students discussed the similarities they see in the real world political climate today, and talking, about how a politician should behave, basically. And then, most importantly, in my opinion, all teachers are reading teachers. So, consistently building students' vocabulary and reading comprehension in all subjects is really important. Um, so, I try to do that on a consistent basis as well. And then number 6, lastly, how do you see your role as a social studies instructor at Fannin Middle School District? So since I am part of the Path Valley community, I see myself as very involved inside and outside of Fannin Meadow. And as a social studies instructor, I understand that I would have multiple props since it is a smaller district, and that's to be expected. So what I hope is to bring a certain type of energy and enthusiasm for learning to the students at Fannin Meadow, where they're engaged, respected, and feel that their opinion matters. So, in essence, as a social studies teacher at Fannin Meadow, I will take the task of helping students mature into responsible and contributing members of society very seriously. So, thank you very much for your time, and I do hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.